time is now 9 something, 9:01,
9:02.
9:02. Can we take the roll call, please?
Chair Garcia,
Here.
Vice Chair Ozak,
Here.
Member Cahill,
Here.
Member Desart,
Here.
Member Galassi,
Here.
Member Zay.
Here.
Okay, I don't really have any public or any comments right now. Is there any public comment for today?
No.
No public comment. All right, can I ask for approval of the minutes for Public Works public hearing for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Cahill, second by Galassi. Any discussion on that?
Oh,
No,
I seconded.
Oh, sorry, second by Desart. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I ask for approval for the Public Works Committee regular meeting Tuesday, February 7th,
So moved.
2023.
Second.
All right. Motion by Vice Chair Ozak, second by Galassi now on this one. And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those are both approved. Okay, looking for a motion to approve payment of claims for Public Works and Facilities Management.
So moved.
By Member Zay, second by Desart. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. I can think, put these all together, the consent. Yes, okay, I have a motion to combine consent items 7A through 7H.
Second. Can she combine and approve?
You have to combine first.
Okay.
Second, motion by Garcia, second by Cahill. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion for approval of 7A 230808 Corolla Engineers decrease in closed contract, 730809 Cummins Incorporated decrease in closed contract, 730810 Hill Mechanical Corp contract extension, no change to contract total, 230811 Canberra Water Solutions decrease in closed contract, 230812 Knight E/A Incorporated contract extension to pay final invoice, no change to the contract total, 230813 Paladine Inc. decrease in closed contract, 230814 Rempy Sharp Associates decrease in closed contract, and 230815 Raoul Chemical Corporation decrease in closed contract. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Desart. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, looking for a motion to approve the FMR 000223 intergovernmental agreement between the County of
So
DuPage,
moved.
Illinois, and the Wheaton Park District of DuPage Historical Museum Repair
Second.
Project. Motion by Ozak, second by Galassi. I do want to get a little explanation on this because I did not realize this. So I think the board should be
Yeah.
aware of this.
So we haven't really had too many of these come before the committee, but this committee and the board is ultimately in charge of the historical museum. We own the building. DuPage County owns the building. We were gifted it many years ago, and we have an agreement with the Wheaton Park District. We used to run the Historical Society probably back in 03, 05. It didn't work so well. We don't run museums the best out there. We manage buildings, so we got an agreement with the Wheaton Park District, and it's been a great partnership. And they have grown that, and really it's taken off. And we have a good partnership with them where we take care of the building, the envelope, all the HVAC, everything in the building. It's almost like a tenant landlord arrangement, and they run it. They are very successful about getting state and federal grants for doing maintenance on it, as well as private donations. And so we have an agreement in place that talks about a 75-25 split. What you see in front of you, they have managed to get $750,000 and to do some work on the building. It is a historical building, obviously back from 1800s. So everything we do on there, from tuck pointing to windows to roof, is 5 times more expensive than normal because of what we have. But we have been very successful in keeping it. And I think this is mainly tuck pointing, if I remember correctly, Tim, for the $750,000.
I think it was tuck pointing, some roof repair.
Yeah.
And water was coming through the wall.
Right,
Yeah.
there's some infiltration issues that need to be addressed.
Correct.
So how
So
much is the
important
total
things.
project?
750.
We will, every penny we get from a state or federal grant, we will spend every penny and then probably a little bit after that in order to maximize what we have, because I mean, the roof is a $500,000 to re-roof it. Tuck pointing is probably into 2 million. You got windows that we have stained glass windows up there. So everything, we just take everything we can get and parlay it to maximize what we can do.
So they do the grant acquisition and then we spend the money.
We are the ones who control the projects. They're kind of the rainmakers with finding the money out there. And then we are very, very good at building and maintaining, and that's what we're doing.
So this is grant funded.
The 750s grant fund.
And you're right, it gets
It's
so
very-
complicated that
I'm-
they own the
Sure.
grant, we own the building, you as a board will award the work, you as a board will pay the work, Park District will reimburse you with grant dollars, correct?
And
So,
they are getting, so they get the money and then, got it.
And it's
Okay.
very specific to what they can put into the building.
correct.
So you can't put in vinyl windows.
We have, I mean, before we start any project, we have to get the historic experts as part of our team. And so every single thing, the mortar we use, I mean, you name it, we have to get signed off as historically accurate.
Start, did you have questions?
It was answered, thank you.
We, at the DuPage Children's Museum, there was a flood. Some water mains had broken in the building and the city owns the building. But all of the stuff inside the building was the museum's. Is there going to be an additional cost for those artifacts
So-
or things within the building that need to be?
So
Moved or
artifacts,
whatever.
it's a great point. Technically speaking, we own all the artifacts as well. And so we don't have damage to artifacts. That's not an issue. I mean, we are very much on top of it. I mean, you can always have a pipe break, you can always have that. But you know, this is causing, you know, we have seepage into the building, which we knew that, and we've got to make some repairs to do it, but it is not causing artifact damage.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion to approve PWP 002623, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Univera Solutions to provide sodium isocyate to the Woodridge Green Valley Treatment Plant and Knollwood wastewater.
You skipped this one.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. We're going back to the bid award. That's 9. Looking for a motion to approve recommendation for approval of a contract to Rowell Chemical Corporation for sodium hypochlorite for the Woodridge Green Valley Treatment Plant and Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Plant for the Public Works for the period of April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kaya, second by Zay. This is going to be a reduction in cost. I think it's 9 cents less per gallon. So this is a good thing. Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now going forward to item 10, PWP 002623, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Univera Solutions to provide sodium bisulfite to the Woodridge Green Valley Treatment Plant and Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Facility for Public Works on an as-needed basis for the period of April 1st to March 31st, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $40,000.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Stark, second by Cahill. Any
Second by Glassy.
Sorry, yes, Galassi. I'm sorry. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Motion to approve action item, final renewal of the Steeple Run Water Tower lease with T-Mobile.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by DeSart, second by DeSay. Any discussion?
Why is this the final renewal?
So we have, for the new members out there, on a lot of our water towers, the cell providers come to us. We have obviously the highest thing in the area, so they come to all the water tower owners. And so we've done quite well over the years. I think we have 6 different leases that we entertain, this being one of them. And when you see the final renewal, when we negotiate the original, you typically have a couple-year renewal. This is the last one. They'll have to renegotiate the full thing.
So we can re-up.
We like it. I mean, it's a lot of work to do it, but it actually lowers our water rates for our customers because this goes right back in. You can see we're making about 5,200. The interesting thing is, depending on the water tower, some water towers are way more valuable than other ones if there's not other water towers in the area. So it's, you know, it definitely is kind of a dance with them, because they, you know, they threaten to leave when you do renegotiation, and we have a very, very good handle, our staff does, on how much other people are charging in the area, so that we're not overpricing or underpricing ourselves. It's kind of a little, you know, it's a small little cottage industry that they move around. We've lost a lot of them over the years because the consolidation, the whatever. I mean, I think we're continuing to see less and less, you know, maybe if it goes satellite, but for right now, it's good for our customers.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, looking for a motion for approval for a request for travel, 230817. Authorization is requested to have one facilities management staff member attend Menace's FEC operations troubleshooting course in Louisville, Kentucky, May 8th, 2023 through May 11th, 23, for an approximate cost not to exceed $3,588,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Hale, second by Galassi. Any public discussion? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're going on to our Public Works Facilities Management Departmental overview. We're excited about this.
Thank you. I know we ran out of time last time, so we moved to this one. We will dive right in, because I know we have a couple of new members, and we just wanted to kind of give just an overview of both Public Works and Facilities. Obviously, we're very proud of what we do, but we wanted to kind of just give you a quick overview of it. We'll start with Public Works first, then move to Facilities. I'll just do a slide or two on each one, and then give it to the others who have to do it. Public Works. I am the Director of Public Works. Sean and Stan Sean does all the daily operations. Stan does everything financial. Just so you know, a little bit interesting for those during COVID, right when it first started, we actually lost our CFO. He went to another job, and Stan, given his background and knowledge, he stepped in as our interim CFO for the entire county. So we're very lucky to have both Sean and Stan. 96
up screaming too every once in a while.
Yeah.
You got the $40 million.
Although he did say, he's like, yeah, I never want to do that job again. So 96 employees. We do have openings out there. We've been fairly successful. We have one of the longest tenured departments in the county for people sticking around. I mean, we just had 48. How long was Jen here? 48 years? 48 years, as long as she just retired a little bit ago. So a lot of long tenured employees. We do everything. We do our engineering, permitting, operation, maintenance, construction. We're a little bit different than you're going to see other public works agencies. We do a lot of our own construction. Our maintenance on our lines out there, obviously our big multi-million-dollar projects, we don't do that, but we're able to keep our prices. We have some of the most competitive. We're right in the mix for the water because we're kind of so small, but wastewater, we're some of the most competitive in the entire Chicago region, if not one of the lowest. So we're very proud of that. We've got 2 bargaining units within Public Works. About half the employees, 49, are in there. We have both local 150 and 399 in there. Next slide. You can see right there our service area. We're primarily the big shade in the southeast corner. That is our sanitary. That's kind of our bread and butter. That's by far our biggest operation. But we'll start there. Established back in 1962. We've grown quite big from there. We're one of the biggest sewer providers in the state. Probably definitely top 5 out there. Obviously Cook County, Fox Metro, but we're very large. Water systems, we have 6 small water systems interspersed throughout the county. We serve only unincorporated. 5 of those are on Lake Michigan through the Water Commission serving us the water, and then 1 deep aquifer well. That's our Nordic system up near Itasca. We also maintain about 70 miles of pipe, and like I said, only unincorporated. Sanitary, as I said, that's our biggest provider we do. It knows no boundaries for municipalities, so it doesn't make a difference if you're unincorporated, incorporated. It all is just gravity flow. And so you can see we reach all the way from Burr Ridge up to Wheaton with our Knollwood and our Woodridge plant, both very large treatment plants, with, as far as the EPA is concerned, they're rated above, I think, 10 million gallons a day, so they're very large. And we serve about 200,000 residents, so we serve almost a quarter of the county with our, especially our sanitary. Next slide, and in this one, I will turn it over to Stan.
So on the financials, first draw attention to the upper left box, so our budget at a high level. And specifically what I wanted to highlight is the 17 million of capital expenditures. Sean's gonna go into detail on that. The capital expenditure for 23 and moving forward for some of the larger projects, they're going to be primarily funded by IEPA state revolving fund loans. The other items I'm going to present, to talk about is if you look at the box to the right, a lot of debt coverage ratio type of information. The takeaways there is the department is meeting or exceeding the requirements of the latest bond ordinance. And the other thing that we really look at are the S&P guidelines for investment grade ratings. So all of those metrics are very solid. They're going to allow us to continue to get IEPA loans, meet our operating reserve requirements, and fund projects moving forward. Next slide. Sean.
Okay, good morning. The first couple of projects here are some of the projects that we're going underway right now. Some of you are familiar with the Nordic wastewater treatment plant. I'm happy to say we're actually going to start that plant up here within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Been a very successful project. We are under budget with it. Tough little project. It's one of the smaller plants that we have up and unincorporated Itasca. The next projects is our electrical infrastructure at both our Knollwood and Woodridge treatment facility. Power is pretty important. It's the backbone of both of those plants. It's an expensive project, a little over 20 million. That is well underway. Into that project is going to be in 2020 into 2024, but it'll provide backup generators for the plants. There'll be an automatic switch over, so if we lose power at the plant, it automatically switches over flawlessly. Right now, we actually have to come in, switch those manually, so it's a little bit cumbersome, dangerous, and kind of tough. So that's a great project to get underway. Next slide. Water meter replacement project. We're upgrading. So right now, we actually go out and we touch read every water meter at the houses. A little bit antiquated, so we're upgrading to an automated meter reading system. Replace about 14,000 meters in Darien and in our unincorporated areas. It's great customer service. We can capture leaks a lot quicker. If somebody goes out of town, we can throw flags on that system if they have leaks. So we get ahead of it and we can let them know. So it's really much better customer service. Plus, we're accounting for every drop of lake water that's going into these homes. So the next project is the influence screening at the Woodridge plant. This is one that kind of drives the rest of the facility. It's screening, removing the grit and the sand and everything on the front end of the process. It gives you good payback because down the line you're saving some of the pumps, some of the other processes if you can remove that grit. We took advantage of some of the grants that are out there from ComEd. It included our blowers. So we have old what's called centrifugal blowers, really big energy hogs. We're going to upgrade those to turbo blowers, and we estimate we'll save about $100,000 a year. That's in addition to any grants that we receive from ComEd, just in power. So really a great project for our plant there. Next slide. This is just kind of a list for the next few years anyway, some of the major capital projects that we have going. I wanted to highlight one, it's the treatment plant improvements, new aeration basins, and chemical phosphorus removal. Those are driven by the regulatory agencies to remove phosphorus and nitrogen in the water before we discharge it back out into the creek. Our Knollwood plant, we actually have biological phosphorus now, and we're really, it's overachieving, honestly. We have a 1.0 milligram per liter rule down there, and we're getting it way down to like 0.01. So I'm pretty proud of that plant. Woodridge is a little bit further down the line, but we're going to get ahead of that, put aeration basins in, and get the plant ready for when we have that limit put on us. Next slide. A few other initiatives, Lake Michigan water. There's some opportunities that are out there with our water systems or small systems, but there's still quite a few communities that are contiguous to our existing systems that are on well water. So we're going to try to pursue bringing Lake Michigan water there. We'll gauge every few years we go out, we gauge the interest of those communities, and sometimes it's too expensive for whatever reason we don't get it done. But we're going to continue to pursue that. The next one was a three-way agreement with Waste Management, the DuPage County Forest Preserve, and our Woodridge plant. So there's a landfill just to the east of our treatment plant. They were hauling leachate to another municipality. So we actually put a hard pipe in right to our plant, a great way to get rid of the leachate, and it was a good win-win for all three agencies involved. Billing software that goes hand in hand with the water meter replacement. We just rolled that out. And then one thing I wanted to bring to your attention, as Nick mentioned, we do a lot of work in-house. We do televising in-house, a lot of construction projects in-house. So we have multiple IGAs out there with other municipalities that come to our plant to use our resources and our capabilities. So we're lucky enough to have some really good equipment to maintain our systems, and we want to make that available to the other municipalities.
I just want to reiterate what Sean said before. Everything we do, every decision we make in public works is wrapped around the mandates for the state EPA and the federal EPA. So everything we do, it's all driven that way. I mean, we could be functioning perfectly fine, which we are in complete environmental compliance. They keep changing the rules, which is what they should be doing. And then so the projects you see adapt to those new rules so that we meet and exceed the new rules. So it's constantly changing as they do more research, groundbreaking stuff, they implement new, both on the water and the sewer side. Luckily on the water side for us, the Lake Michigan, that is handled primarily through City of Chicago, going to the Water Commission. So they handle a lot of the testing, but the sewer is all of us. So. Next slide.
That's a good point, Nick. I mean, we're well ahead of the regulatory agencies. I think what we know is coming, we're already meeting those expectations, and kind of what's coming 10, 15 years down the road. That's the challenge. So we're upgrading the plant now, spending millions of dollars. We want to make sure we meet those.
And that's the important thing, because we do know like what's coming 5, 10, 15 years down the line for regulatory compliance, but sometimes these projects take 3 to 5 years to implement. And so we have to be everything's so far in advance with doing that to ensure compliance.
And so I'm assuming EPA, you have to get your permit from EPA. And then if EPA doesn't like the amount of phosphorus that's being released, they come back and say, we're not going to give you your permit until you reduce the phosphorus that's coming out of the system, correct?
So all of our plants have an MPDS permit. That is what allows us to operate. And within those MPDS permits are the limits for discharge.
And acronym, please, MPDS.
National
Pollutant Discharge Elimination System.
Yeah.
So basically, so it's a very, very long document that lists every effluent quality you can imagine, anything they're regulating. And basically that is our Bible for operating our plant. Everything we do is wrapped around that. And every 4 years, Sean, I think they re-up that, and that's where they add new requirements, they change things. But it's a big deal.
And it's very costly. I know in Naperville, we were looking about $25 million to change our plant. And now it's looking like more like 50 million. So then we had to put a service charge on the users because of the cost. But then EPA comes back every so many years and says, okay, this is what you need now.
Yeah.
But the last one was a big hit, the phosphorus one.
The good thing is we have constant communication with the EPA. Our long-term capital plan has incorporated the rates that this committee and the board has recently approved. Consider all of those capital plans. So our job is to make sure, obviously something can come out of left field that we don't know, but everything that we have in place incorporates all the projects we've talked about. We're very good, sound financially and sound environmentally. So we are very comfortable where we're at right now.
I think the next slide goes to.
Quick question. Is it fair to say when those changes come forward from the EPA, it's incremental versus?
Yeah, it's a negotiation. It's a negotiation with
everybody.
everybody.
There's not huge variation in what they're expecting. It's more incremental.
Some of them are groundbreaking, but it doesn't happen
But you usually,
overnight.
and you also have advanced notice. Those are
It
in the
doesn't happen
pipeline.
overnight.
In the pipeline, get it?
Honestly, and to be honest with you, other
Okay.
states out there are more groundbreaking than what we are. So we can follow other states to figure out what the trends will happen in our state. And then we can then prepare and study and get things ready to go. We already have plans in place for what could likely happen in 10 years. We know what will likely happen. Okay, if this, then that. We're planning 5, 10, 15 years in the future.
So what's going on in the west with water, that kind of thing
Yeah.
is stuff that you keep.
Yeah, Wisconsin is actually a big trend setter.
Wisconsin.
And when it comes to environmental for wastewater treatment plants. So, facilities management. This is one that you guys are probably all aware of. Tim handles all the day-to-day on I'm also the director of facilities management. Basically, they handle all the buildings you see here on campus, everything you see, over 2 million square feet. We are one of the few campuses, governmental campuses in the country that is entirely contained on one. It's a great advantage to have. There are every other Collier County would love to have what we have here. We're very lucky. 105 employees, plenty of open positions, always trying to fill them, but he's been successful in doing that. Operating budget is around $14 million. You can see the split. Fairly even between salaries, utilities, and contractual and commodities. They handle everything. Every project you see here, little project, big project, they're responsible. Capital budget, 19 million. That excludes a CDBG that you saw a lot of that's over at the care center. And ARPA funding, they're very, we've been very lucky to get a lot of that. And you can see we've got 399 and 150 in there. Next slide. Yep.
The couple things I want to point out here, first is the red line through the middle of the eastern third of the campus. That is the municipal boundary. East of that is Winfield, west of that is Wheaton. So we do fall under both jurisdictions. They have worked well together. For example, in DuCom, all permits were issued by Winfield, even though there was work in Wheaton. We do all those functions listed on campus. One of the things that Sean mentioned, I need to point out to everybody is all of our underground work is done by Public Works. It is unbelievably great for our department. Where I came from in Kane County, it was all third party. It was a nightmare. You might get them out there 2-3 days later. They're here within hours all the time. That's been a huge asset for us. So next slide. These are all the capital projects we have. I just want to touch briefly on 3 of them. $94 million would be probably or at least 70% higher than what we normally do. But there are 3 large projects, $31 million at the care center, about $11 million in the animal services addition, and then just under $20 million primarily at the 503 project with the addition that was done there. But a large list of projects that we're working on right now, the lion's share of these are underway. As Nick pointed out, more than 80% of our ARPA funding is under contract. As you recall, it needs to be under contract by the end of 2024. The last bit I'm actually slow rolling because sometimes things break that is ARPA eligible. And my personal approach is I would rather use ARPA money than infrastructure money, which has no restrictions on it. Next slide. Very briefly, in 2020, we were given $21.5 million in CARES Act. We did a lot of activities within the courthouses, 503, 505. We did a new HVAC system at 505, and we did $900,000 in repairs and HVAC replacement at the coroner's office that was greatly needed. Next slide. There are primarily 4 larger projects that we're working on right now. All 4 of them you've heard about within the last 4 weeks. The 3 is the parking deck rehab, campus sidewalk program, campus stormwater. That was Nick told you about that literally last Tuesday. And then the rezoning activities for the city of Wheaton, you approved that contract at your last meeting. But that's kind of the bigger work that we are working on in FY23, newer stuff along with all the construction. Just 2 more slides. A lot of the green activities that we've been doing, we've done a lot of planting activities. We are an arboretum. We have over 1,000 trees on campus, probably almost more than half of those we put out of the last 9 years. We are continuing to pursue a lot of green activities with you, everything that's going on. And now the last slide, we did make an offer for a new position, energy and sustainability coordinator. That was a new position that was approved in the FY23 budget. He should be starting in probably about 3 weeks.
Did he accept?
Yes, he did.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, he was a good fit. Yeah, he will be reporting to Jeff. So you'll be hearing a lot from him during the next long period of time with the activities. We've got a big backlog of work to be pursuing on that front. And these are some of the other activities that we are continuing to pursue on campus.
So I wanted to touch base before the negotiations we're doing with the city of Wheaton, we are exploring every option we have, both having a kind of a zoning overlay and the potential of maybe going unincorporated as well. So we're exploring every option with the city of Wheaton and working with them closely. Just want to, everything will come through this committee as we move that forward. Any questions on facilities?
But question,
Go ahead.
fair to say, working with Wheaton, everybody's on the same page in terms of cooperation.
Oh, yeah, it's been,
We'll talk about everything.
yeah, everything's on the table where whatever we bring to you is going to be mutually agreeable by both parties.
Okay.
So,
Great presentation, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lots of information, and it's just so amazing how much you guys, how much the staff does and the department does. And you forget about all the things that actually affect your life on an everyday basis. So,
Oh, I'll go under older new business.
okay, old business.
Just a question. The railroad tracks I know are right out here. So I was just wondering, does Public Works work with our first responders about like a railroad derailment? Because I know, believe it or not, there's 1,700 railroad derailments a year. So we're right here. So I don't know if Public Works. does
So
with that.
the railroad derailments, obviously our DOT is part of that.
Okay,
And then OEM they practice the disaster and they have, I mean, hopefully we never, ever see one, but they have done plenty of drills toward that.
okay.
We
Yeah,
did
I
a lot of
remember there was a,
tabletops. We did the last one was
In
where you
Downers
were
Grove,
out,
yeah.
Downers Grove. That was probably, it
yeah.
was a while ago though, wasn't it? 5, 6 years?
Oh, it was a
ago, maybe?
long time
Think
ago,
so.
at least more than that.
And
yeah.
something like that, even any emergency that happens, wind, tornado, a derailment, heaven forbid, snow plowing, Public Works and Facilities provides a support mechanism.
Yeah.
We have a lot of CDL drivers that a lot of the other departments utilize. We have heavy equipment experience, and that's where we typically become a secondary, but we do a lot of the heavy equipment
Yeah.
support.
Good, that's right, yeah, great, that was all.
Okay, any other old business? Any new business? Okay, I motion to adjourn. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.